你好，你好，新年快乐，新年快乐，新年快乐. Happy New Year. I'm not talking about 2020, of course. I'm talking about Chinese New Year, and that's going to be the subject of today's video. You're going to find out everything you ever wanted to know about Chinese New Year, including some traditions, some customs. You might hear a folk tale, what food is good to eat, and you might learn a little bit of Chinese. So stick around because this is going to be a very interesting video. And as you can see, I'm wearing my Lucky Chinese shirt and some Lucky Red lipstick, but we're going to talk about that later. So, obviously, it's January 25th. The New Year was 25 days ago. Well, Chinese New Year does not follow the Gregorian calendar like we do. In fact, it goes by the lunar calendar, so it is sometimes known as the Lunar New Year. But if you're Chinese, you're going to call it Chinese New Year. So now in Asia, they mostly use the Gregorian calendar like we do. Of course, the rest of the world uses it. Why not? But we still use the lunar calendar, of course, to celebrate this Lunar New Year. And it's it's a big part of history, right? The Lunar New Year, or Chinese New Year, is also known as Zhunjie. And that means spring festival. So that's another term for this. And then the spring festival is all about praying to the gods, asking them to give you a good harvest, a good year. So you'll see that the entire Chinese New Year celebrations really center about bringing in a great new year for you and your family. So you can also pray to your ancestors. I'm sure that you've heard this or you've seen it in Mulan. Your elders and your ancestors are quite revered in Chinese culture. And so a lot of people would pray to them for good luck too. Okay? Now, there is a story about a beast named Xīnnián. A monster who would arrive at the beginning of every new year, and he would eat people and children and animals. So of course the poor people of China thought, what do we do? How do we get rid of this monster who's eating our crops and our children? So they tried a lot of different things to appease him or to scare him away. And some of the things that did work were loud noises, like firecrackers, and fire itself, and the color red. So this is the story of why we set off firecrackers and we put up lots of decorations in the color red to ward off this spirit, this monster, Xīnnián, telling him you're not welcome. And he'll leave your crops and your children alone. Today, of course, we have lion dances. I'm sure you've seen them or heard of them. And I'm not sure if it's known whether or not this is directly related to Xīnnián, but I think it's to help ward off his spirit. And there are lots of firecrackers typically during a lion dance. And the lion itself is usually red, and there's usually a lot of red around. Red is considered a very lucky color, and this is one of the reasons why. So, Chinese New Year is not just one day, like our New Year's Day or New Year's Eve. It's actually about 2 weeks. But if you include the actual day of Chinese New Year, altogether it's about 16 days. 16 days of celebrating, of eating, of doing all your festivities. Now, you want to be with your family during Chinese New Year, because like a lot of holidays in the Western world, it's seen as a family event. So Chinese New Year is actually the world's largest annual migration of people traveling back home to go be with their family during this time. And I don't know if you've ever seen photos of the highway systems in China, but they have highways that are like 50 lanes across, and they will be completely backed up for hours, even days sometimes, of everybody trying to get back home. I mean, think if you've ever had to fly home for Christmas. The rush of people at the airport all trying to go home at the same time. Think of that, but about 100 times worse. Yeah, it's a pretty serious thing. Now, Chinese New Year has a lot of superstition revolving around it, and there are things that are considered lucky or unlucky to do. I'm going to tell you some of those things. Now, remember what I said about how Chinese New Year is all about bringing in a new year, and you want that year to be as prosperous and lucky as it possibly could be, right? So there are some things that you don't want to do because they are associated with bad luck coming into your life. So some of those things are washing or sweeping. Yeah, sweeping. So that represents sweeping all the good things from your life, or washing all the good out of your life. So no sweeping, no washing. Also, don't take out your garbage, because that's taking all the luck right out of your life. Don't do it. Also, cutting your hair. Think about it. You'd be cutting out all the good out of your life. In fact, scissors in general, or like pointed blades and stuff, is just don't do it. It's bad. You also want to be as positive as possible during Chinese New Year. So don't say any bad words or unlucky words. Unlucky words might be something like death or illnesses, anything negative that would bring in that negativity into your life. And try not to argue with anyone, because that's obviously a pretty negative thing. Breaking something can also be seen as very bad luck. So people be very careful. But what about some things that are lucky? Giving gifts, seen as kindness and friendliness. And a popular gift during Chinese New Year is oranges. Why oranges? Well, the word for orange is chung, and it sounds a lot like success. So you'll see that a lot of words sound like something good, or they sound like something bad. So you either want to give that gift, say that thing, or you want to avoid that word and that thing that sounds like something bad. So oranges, good. So giving your friends or your family a gift of a crate of oranges is a very nice and auspicious gift, and it's something that my family gives out a lot. I'm from Florida, and you probably know that our state fruit is the orange. We are known as orange people. I guess our climate and our ground is very suitable for growing oranges because it stays warm all year and they don't freeze. So Florida has some of the best oranges in the world, so we are always sending gifts of oranges to my family in other parts of the country. So, for children also have a big role to play during Chinese New Year, and something for them is they get a lucky red envelope. Of course, I told you that red is a very lucky color, and I told you why. But the children receive these little envelopes called hongbao. Hongbao just means like red package. and they're typically given to children by their elders, parents, grandparents. It's seen as passing down prosperity from the elders to the young generation. So they'll give them gifts of money inside the hongbao. I have a couple of hongbao to show you today. So I've got two different kinds. This one looks like a more traditional hongbao to me. It's kind of, I think this is a really old one because it's coming undone right here. But you can see it's red. It's got lots of beautiful imagery on it. And then, oh, I'm holding it upside down. Oh, here's the back. It's got gold on it. There's no money inside this. But you would put your money inside your hongbao, seal it up, and then pass it over to your children. Now here's another one, and this one looks more like for a child, because it's got little kids playing on it, and there's little kids on the back too. And they're different sizes, interestingly. So you can see them together, they're different sizes. But you would just put a bit of money inside. Now, how much money? That depends. But you would never give anyone any amount of money in fours. Do you remember what I said earlier about how some words sound like unlucky or bad words? Well, the number 4 is one of those. The number 4, oh no, I said it, sounds like the word for death. So 4 is considered a very unlucky number in Chinese culture. So you would not want to give anyone a gift that was in the amount of 4s or an amount of money that ended in 4. $24, $34. Or like 4 oranges. See, it's not lucky anymore because you have 4. So 4, a very unlucky number. Alright, let's talk about food. What sort of food do you eat during Chinese New Year? Well, there's a lot, and honestly they all have different meanings, and they all represent different lucky things that you want to be doing during this time, but I'm going to mention a few, and they're pretty much my favorites as well. So your first one is dumplings. Dumplings. Or jiaozi. Jiaozi. So you probably know what dumplings are, but if you don't, they're just a wrapper, and inside the wrapper is a mixture of meat and vegetables, mushrooms. You can put a lot of different things inside them and then fold it up and seal, and you can boil them, you can steam them, you can fry them. There's different ways of doing it, but I think the most traditional way would be to steam them, probably. It's my favorite too. So you see a lot of dumplings eaten during this time because the dumplings are going to be symbolizing wealth. Yes. So you're symbolizing wealth and eating a lot of dumplings. Of course, there's a lot of other foods, but you would traditionally eat them for like every meal. This would be the best way of inviting a lot of wealth into your life. Another thing you can eat is fish. Fish is very popular in Chinese cuisine. It's very good for you. A fish is going to represent prosperity here. Yes, prosperity. Bring all the prosperity, all the wealth into your life with your fish and dumplings. Yes. And noodles. Noodles are interesting to me because they represent longevity, and I can see that. So a long noodle would represent a long life. So ideally, the longer your noodle, the better. Now here's the funny bit that I always liked. If you break your noodle, the superstition goes that you're breaking off your life, you're cutting it short. So you don't want to break your noodle, you want to slurp your noodle. So slurping your noodles is considered like a polite thing to do. And breaking your noodles, cutting them off, is more impolite, I guess, or just bad luck. It's sort of ingrained in me that I should always slurp my noodles, but it's awkward because obviously not every culture finds that polite, and I think, in fact, that would be considered pretty impolite to a lot of people, so be careful who you're slurping your noodles around. And another food, a New Year's food, is called Xīnnián. Xīnnián means a year cake. A year cake. Do you recognize the word Nian? 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 Do you remember that? Nian was the name of the beast who would come and eat your children. So Nian actually means a year, and I don't know if it's like if the beast was named Nian because it meant year, or the beast was named Nian. You know what I'm saying? I don't know which came first, the year or the beast, the monster. But basically, Xīnnián is a gelatinous rice cake, and it can be prepared a couple different ways, typically either sweet or savory, depending on what part of China or just I'm familiar with, I suppose. My family would eat it both ways. The savory way, typically cooked with some vegetables and a savory sort of a little bit of broth to give it some flavor, because on its own Xīnnián does not have that much flavor. It's more of just a chewy rice cake. I love it. It's probably my favorite New Year thing because I used to only get it during New Year's, whereas we did dumplings like all year round, so it was, to me, it was seen as a special thing. The sweet way of preparing it is to sort of stir fry it or fry it in sugar and other sweet things, or you could just kind of like cook the Xīnnián and dip it in sugar. I actually, despite being quite a sweet tooth, I don't prefer the sweet one, but we did eat the sweet Xīnnián as a dessert sometimes. And you can have Xīnnián in the next kind of food I'm going to mention, which is hot pot. Hot pot. Hot pot, 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 hot pot. Or in Chinese, hot pot. I like that it rhymes in both English and Chinese. Hot pot, hot pot, So what is hot pot? If you don't know, it is quite literally a pot full of a broth or a soup, like either a sort of a meat stock, or maybe you might have a vegetable broth. Depending on different parts, you'd either have like a really spicy one in certain provinces, or more of a meat and vegetable one, and you boil it and then you throw in raw ingredients. This is perfect during a cold winter, when you're chilly outside. I think of hot pot as a social gathering sort of event, sort of like dim sum is, because you would be sitting around your pots. You'd have more than one pot because, you know, one pot is really only enough for one person. And then you'd all be sharing these ingredients, putting them into your pot, letting it boil. You talk while it cooks. Everything takes different lengths of time, so you know you want to put in your meats first, let them get going, and then your things like your noodles or some of your veggies don't take as long, so you'll wait till the meat's been cooking for a while before you add that. But you can keep adding things in your pot all the time. Just grab it, dump it in, let it cook. You can mix up different sauces so that when your stuff's done, you take it out of your pot and you can put it in your bowl and you can add some sauce. enjoy it, and I like to have niangko in my hot pot. That's like my favorite thing. So those are just, as I mentioned, just some of the foods that you would eat during New Year's. There's obviously a lot, like oranges. Oranges are a good thing to eat. There's other fruits that are lucky, but I'm not going to get into it because food would last an entire video on its own. I'm sure you all know about the Chinese zodiac, and you probably know what zodiac animal you are. If you don't, I'm afraid I don't have time to sit through here and go through every year and every zodiac, but you can very easily look it up. Just put in the year of your birth, and then you know, Chinese zodiac, and you'll find out what animal you are. I can't remember every single animal. I'm sorry, I'm bad. But I can tell you that we are right now leaving the year of the boar, and we are entering the year of the rat. I am the year of the boar. But you have to be careful when you're looking up your zodiac, because you might get you have to be careful, because anyone will tell you, based on my year of birth, which is 1996, that I'm the year of the rat. However, my birthday was last week, at the very, very tail end of the year of the boar. There's only a few weeks, you know, into each year that is the previous year's animal. So really, from the end of January all the way to December of 1996 was the year of the rat. But the very, very beginning, when I was born, was the last bits of the year of the boar. So I'm born in the year of the boar, but we're about to enter the year of the rat. Now, seeing as this last year was my year, does that mean anything? Yes, it does. Actually, it's not a good thing. Your year, which would fall every 12 years, for every 12 zodiac animals, that would be like when you're 12, when you're 24. I just turned 24. This is seen as your unlucky year, and you need to expect a lot of bad luck. It's just, things aren't gonna go your way this year. Sorry if this is your year. I don't think I had necessarily an unlucky year, but I only just turned 24, like I said a few days ago. So really 23 was okay, but maybe now that I'm 24 I'll have bad luck. I hope not. Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to say Happy New Year in Chinese now. So in Mandarin Chinese, to literally say Happy New Year is what I said at the beginning of the video. Xīnnián, that's the word again, nian, remember the monster? Xīnnián kuàilè. Xīnnián means literally new year, nian means year, and the kuàilè means happy. So you can also pair that with like 生日快乐 means happy birthday. So 快乐 happy. 新年快乐. 新年快乐. You try it. 新年快乐. 新年快乐. But you probably have heard 恭喜发财. 恭喜发财, which is not saying Happy New Year, but it's a phrase you would say during the New Year. I don't remember the literal translation, but like, you know, wishing you health and prosperity, basically. And to say that in Mandarin, it's 恭喜发财. 恭喜发财. I would recommend saying it in Cantonese because it's easier. 恭喜发财. 恭喜发财. And I can't speak Cantonese, so maybe I'm not saying it really right. Sorry, I don't know Cantonese at all. 新年快乐. Happy New Year. 恭喜发财. Wealth and prosperity. Wealth and prosperity. It's wealth and prosperity. 恭喜发财. Same thing. And don't forget the other term I taught you, which is hongbao. 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 This is your hongbao. Hongbao. And you can actually get these in Asian grocery stores around. So if you would like to maybe try giving these to your kids this year, or any children in your lives that you know, as a fun treat for them to celebrate Chinese New Year, you can pick these up. They're pretty cheap, and you can put a little bit of money inside, and I'm sure they'll love it, as kids do. But don't forget, you cannot give them anything in any amounts of 4s. Just try to remember that. That's unlucky. Or you could give them an orange. But I think kids would probably rather get money than a fruit. So last thing I'll say is that at the very end of this, as I said, remember this is a huge 16-day celebration festival where you are eating dumplings, you're eating noodles and fish and yangao, you're having hot pot, you're not cutting your hair, you're not sweeping and taking out the garbage, you're not doing any of these things to invite bad, negative things into your life. You want to be inviting wealth, prosperity, good tidings, good prosperity and love and career. You're doing all these things for 16 days, and at the very end of the 16 days you have the Lantern Festival. So we just bounce from one festival to the next. So the Lantern Festival will be in February at the end of this 16-day festival. So I would recommend, now that you've learned all of this about Chinese New Year, and maybe you already knew all this, and you just wanted to be bored to sleep, that's okay, you can do that. So, but if you learned something new today, I would go online, type in your area, your city, wherever you live, and just look and see if there are any Chinese New Year celebrations going on. If you miss the actual day, don't worry, like I said, goes on for 2 weeks, guys. You'll have plenty of opportunities to celebrate. So look it up, see if you can find maybe there's a lion dance going on. If you happen to live in Orlando like me, there's a lot of celebrations going on because we have quite a big Asian population. I should also say, you probably guessed, but obviously not just Chinese people celebrate this holiday. This is not an exclusive Chinese holiday. This is celebrated by about a quarter of the world's population. Yeah, it's pretty intense. 25% of the world's population celebrates this Lunar New Year. So it's safe to say there's probably something going on in your area if you live in a big city. I know London does lots of things. New York obviously will have a lot going on in New York City. So look it up, see if you can attend some festivities with all your new knowledge. It'd be really cool. Make sure you wear red, because that's very lucky. And you can get some hongbao. If there aren't any celebrations going on, maybe you could just go eat some good Chinese food. And you can eat all those things that I was telling you about. So get some dumplings, get some noodles, make sure you slurp them for longevity. You can eat some fish. There's lots of vegetables also that you should eat, but I can't go through everything. If you can, try and see if you can get some yangao, because I think they're so good. I know not everyone likes them, because they're just like a sort of a chewy texture. Not everyone finds appealing, but I love them. Yangao. Yes, I love yangao. And if you have some oranges near you, you can get those as a gift. So I hope that I have given you all the information that you need to celebrate Chinese New Year. You can go and you can share your new Chinese New Year knowledge with your friends and family. Tell them Xīnnián kuàilè. Tell them Gung or choy. Give them a red envelope. And you can impress them with your tale about Xīnnián, the monster who is scared of fireworks, firecrackers, and the color red. I'll keep Xīnnián away tonight. Don't worry. Okay, if you liked this video, please let me know, because I had a lot of fun making this for you guys. These sort of videos where you are relaxed but you also get to learn something are some of my absolute favorites, and I hope that you enjoyed this too. Leave me a comment and let me know if you did, and I'll make another one for you guys on something else. Okay? Alright, I'll see you in my next video then.